I don't like studying, and I'm also not really good at it. Um, no matter how many how to study or how to write notes videos I watched, nothing ever really changed for me. And at some point, I started thinking that I was the problem, and I was. So the best way I got around this was to create systems that work for me, which brings me to Notion. I downloaded Notion after I woke up one day in the middle of one of my exams with only 20 minutes to write my 4-hour exam. I somehow convinced myself that, hey, I can do this. I can definitely nail this. So I grabbed my textbook and I started writing, only to realize, at the end of my exam, after I submitted everything, that I was using the wrong textbook. So, yes, it was that bad. And yes, I definitely failed. What's worse is that I had the audacity to do this again with another course where I woke up like hours after the course had already been written. And yeah, it was just, anyways. After that whole debacle was when I really started using Notion to organize my life and everything. And things got better, I think. So here's a tour of the Notion template that helped me get through my academic life. So, because this planner is supposed to be a solution to my academic problems, the first thing I thought of that honestly annoyed me about school was the need to log in to my university's website, check the amount of credits that I have, and then to also go back and calculate how many credits I need to graduate. It probably takes about 5 minutes, I think, to do. But I found it very tedious. So the first thing I added to my planner was a credit counter, and this allows me to kind of keep track of how my degree is progressing, which I like. I also at some point convinced myself that I could do more than one qualification at a time, like smaller certifications and such. So this also became a way that I could better manage courses for different qualifications. It hasn't happened yet, but we're hopeful that, it'll happen one day. Maybe. And another issue I had was also having to log in every time I needed important information about a specific course, such as who my lecturer is, what their contact details are, why do they hate me, the assignments I have to do, and all the readings, and what the course was actually about and what I should focus on. So I made a database for all my courses where I could link them to my qualifications and also my assignments and also my course contacts. And I could also list what my prescribed textbooks were and how much they would cost me. And this honestly made organizing for my courses so much easier. And now we move to the assessments page, which was definitely a must, because as we all know, I'm not great with due dates. But due dates aside, I often found myself having to continuously keep checking my tutorial letters for how much the assignment weighed or which readings were important for that assignment. And because of this, I made sure that the assignments in this database could be linked to both courses and the syllabus. So I always know which chapters of my textbook pertain to which assignments. And this makes, doing work much easier. And you'll also notice as we go through this planner that I have a lot of these little notifications on a lot of my pages that tell me which assignments are due today, due tomorrow, or are overdue, which for me just means I haven't ticked it off, hopefully. But yeah, this is the assessments page and it's pretty simple and straightforward. And since we're on the topic of my syllabus, managing it for each course has always been the bane of my existence. When I look at everything that I have to cover, all the coursework, I just get so overwhelmed and so demotivated or unmotivated, I'm not sure. So my solution to this is essentially organizing it on Notion and creating a little system that helps me engage with the readings better. And I also add due dates so that I can follow a set schedule and hopefully finish my readings sooner, before the exams, hopefully. Moving along, we are now at my notebook page, and before we talk about notes on Notion, I have a little bit of a confession. And that is that when it comes to making notes for school, I personally prefer using Obsidian and OneNote. Like, please don't judge me. But that's not to say you can't do this on Notion. In fact, I do like making notes on Notion. They're more integrated with my courses and they're just easier to organize. But I guess all these apps have different uses for me. So, for example, I'll use Notion to make like quick notes from like online lessons, lectures, readings, or revisions, like quick things, right? And then I take those notes and reorganize them on Obsidian and kind of link them together with other relevant notes to make connections. And then I use OneNote on my iPad to draw diagrams when I'm studying so I can better remember the work. So you can make notes on Notion, but I guess I just have my preferred ways of doing it. But you can still, do whatever you want, of course. If I haven't made myself clear enough already, I will do so right now. I really, really hate having to deal with admin stuff on my uni's website. Like, I just hate it. Like, oh my god, I hate it so much. So instead of having to request my transcript every time, I just feel like, looking at it, I have my own digital report card for my own personal amusement. It keeps me off the site. I'm happy. And it's pretty simple and straightforward. Like, I can see how I've been doing over the years without having to do too much. And that, of course, is what I strive for. But yeah, one page, straight to it. That's it. And it's magnificent and glorious. Like, I love it. Now, this page is my library, and it's mostly used for non-academic purposes. Like, I just read a lot, and that is my guilty pleasure. And I usually tend to forget a lot of what I read and what I liked about the books. So this part of the planner just helps me keep track of all of that. I rarely ever set like yearly reading goals. I just like to read for fun and see how far I get. But I am excited to see how many books I actually cover in a year. So this is more of a guess than a goal. But there are moments where I actually have to use this library for academic purposes, and that's when I need to look for like articles or internet sources to help me with my assignments. So I use this Chrome extension called Save to Notion. I think there's like 2 of them, but Save to Notion is the one that I'm using currently, and I use it to store articles in my library, and then I link those articles to specific assignments, which is very helpful because then I don't have to go onto the internet and then find who wrote this article when and all that for citing purposes. But yeah, the library is definitely one of my favorite places to be in this planner. And now we take a look at my planners. And when it comes to planning, I'm not much of an archiver. Like, I would never bother to go back to like week 32 of 2014 and see what I had for lunch. Like, I don't care. So instead of planners, I have spreads. I have a weekly and monthly spread where I can basically see what is due in that current week or month, and when it comes to assessments, coursework, or bills that I need to pay. But for the sake of flexibility, I do have a daily planner, and I also gave myself the option to plan for specific months if I ever decide to. The daily planner is also archivable. Like, I know this like defeats the purpose of me telling you that I'm not an archiver. I personally just use it as like one spread anyways, and I just like remove everything that I'm not using for the day. I just clean it up basically, or just delete it, because I do have that option. But yeah, if you definitely want to archive it, that is also possible. But yeah. And since the months are already like on a database, you don't necessarily have to archive them. They're just there. So that comes in handy whenever I feel like, I don't know. I have never felt this way. So we'll see. So one of my other planners is the goal tracker, and I have this because I am a big dreamer, which can sometimes be a bad thing. Like, for the most part, I've had like vague goals and not a lot of direction. And because I didn't really write these things down, I never kept myself accountable. So the hardest thing for me is always just starting and then continuing when things get remotely good, because I get afraid of just things going well for me. That's one of my deepest fears. Okay, that got a little too deep. But my point is, this goal tracker in the planner works for me because I guess it helps me break down my still very big and vague goals into doable projects and tasks. And because I don't really have to have like an end for my goals, I don't have to feel the pressure of being too great at something. Like, there's always breathing space, because if the path I took just doesn't work out, I can always just adjust my projects, and my tasks, and just keep it moving. So this page is called the portfolio page, but honestly, it's more like a job application tracker. It's just that, portfolio sounds better. Anyways, this page is like, the most important page for me right now. Like, forget everything else I've said about every other page. Like, this right here is it, and because I'm in my final year, everything that will happen next will be decided here, which is like a lot of pressure, especially because I dropped out of another university because I realized that I honestly didn't like the career path in general. So when I made this page, I was thinking about how it could help me map out all my options and help me figure myself out. Like, what do I want to do in the next 5 to 10 years? And this will probably change a lot, but at least I'll know where to start, or like what to do next. I'll have a better idea. So although it is a job tracker, it has a career planning page and a digital resume, which I used Notion AI to help write. The career planner definitely isn't like, as robust as career counselors would probably like, since, I'm not one myself, but I definitely do think that it can help make things a bit clearer. Now, this page is my wallet. It's basically my financial planner, and honestly, I hate accounting so much. So this wasn't a completely pleasant addition to my planner. But I'm getting older now, and I want to get better at managing my finances. Like, money has been tight and job prospects, look bleak. So I really want to be a bit better with my spending and savings. I also have a wish list to help organize my savings so I know what the money is all for. Like, I use relatively, for example, I use like relatively expensive skincare products, but I try to save for them so that when I'm buying them again, it's not like a huge knock to my wallet. This definitely isn't like a necessity for your academic planner, but I guess it is for me because I have to pay taxes on every little thing I earn. Doesn't matter how much it is. So this is very new to me, but I have to do it. I'm an adult now. It has to happen. And although I am personally using the Dark Academia Planner, I have made them in 2 or 3 other themes. I think there's like a green aesthetic one, a minimalistic one, and like a light academia, which is honestly just a gold theme, to be honest. And you can get these templates on my Ko-fi store, which you can find the link to in my description. These templates specifically aren't free. However, I do have free student planner options that can serve as like a base to helping you make your own, and they have like most of the features needed, for planning your schoolwork. Like I have enough free templates for you to like build your own planner at this point. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it, and I hope to see you guys again.